This is about evocation, but also about answering questions when you feel that nothing happens and you those things. And I stated it before, for some people it can take 7 years of daily practice before they actually get that true connection. But in the meantime, there's a lot of things that happens. And I worked with a man who it took 7 years. And he was very analytical, just as I am. So I had a lot of trouble with faith and trust there that were hindering me, since I started questioning, is this a demon or is this an angel or is this my ego, and that kind of thing. So those are blockages that I had. So I could relate really easy to him. And when I was a child, I could see clearly, visibly, with my own eyes open. And then it got so terrifying. So I asked the priest when I was 7, since I saw demons and I had the maternal side working with that kind of things, that they blocked my third eye through prayer and through angelical rituals. So I would have some kind of normalcy in my life, since I wanted to become Richard Attenborough. And nature science was so dear to my heart. But yet I had the call that I couldn't sleep unless I recited Psalm 119 before I went to sleep, to call on the angels of the 22-letter name, since I felt safe. I couldn't protect myself, but I knew I had the 22 angels standing around my bed, and that somehow gave me a home, in a way, a home where I could be myself and speak freely and all of that. And I felt the love. And he had a long struggle. He even went abroad to different orders to try to feel that when you are in a group you might experience more and so on. But yet he were just mimicking, since you can buy those papers when they ask you questions what you should answer to enter into order to rise up in the grades. And so he was just saying, repeating what others was saying. So that's why I never want to really give out any instructions what you should see and what you should think, since that can be a blockage too, especially if you can't have, or don't, if you have aphasia or something that blocks your insights. But there are some quick things that I did with him that has helped me a lot, so it is a joint story in many ways. And one thing is, I just walked out into nature, or wherever I felt the call. I didn't have a plan. I just let my heart lead me in a way. And I could find a spot where I felt sacredness. Not something that others has pointed out. Since in the old belief there's an angel governing, let's say, a circle of 2 kilometers, and trying to connect to the angels there. And that made it easier, since I spoke to the tree, so that the tree was like a person standing in front of me, but I was addressing the angel. And that helped him too a lot, since you have to learn to speak as if somebody is standing right there in front of you and you can't see them, or maybe hear them or sense them yet. But the more you speak out like you are talking to another person in the room, and you answer with your body language and everything, and your brain starts to adapt in ways. And this is just an exercise. This doesn't make you psychic. This isn't, but it is that you start to respond. And that means also when you get thoughts in your head, that you might get a smile, since you feel it's from an angel, so you might smile suddenly without no reason, and you know that that came from an angel. And thoughts, especially for me, was the first thing I could recognize that were being changing. Like, and then I started to follow through with the thoughts. If there was like a thought that, oh, it looks like that person has a bad back, I offered to carry their grocery shopping bags for them. And things like that were just not thought of before, but just simple little things. Or somebody looks scared, so I didn't introduce myself. I just walk with them since we live in a bad area, so they might feel afraid, and they felt safer when I was around. And I started to, and he also started to follow these small little inklings of what we can do. And that guidance through the thoughts became more and more clear. It's not here that you hear it, but you notice that you think these random thoughts. Oh, I should help that one, or I should do this, or there are crows circling around that forest. I have to rush in there. There might be an injured animal, since I love animals. And how many lost and stray dogs and cats and a moose with a broken leg and so on. So, and the more you practice you have, it is just like in a workplace. Somebody might be angry and cursing and really off, and you suddenly get a thought that person is really sad, and you just show some compassion there, and that person starts crying in front of you and breaks apart. They are hiding their pain behind that anger, and suddenly it starts to become real in real life, and you start to see how much you listen to the angels without not knowing it. And one thing that happens to me, especially at night, I have trouble falling asleep, so I toss and turn all night long, and many times I get up without any sleep. I'm an old athlete and I have a lot of injuries, and if I lay in bed, I get stiff, so the aches come in, and so if I can't sleep within 2 hours, then I'm up all for the next night. So that goes like that. But there is that I focus on the angels, and I might just simply call upon one. I do the Kabbalistic once in bed every night as well, before my night prayer, Our Father, and then I just welcome in the angels. And but that has one thing that happens to me sometimes, that usually I have my eyes closed and it's pitch black in the room, but I see like white fog and mist through it like that, or then it might appear. But sometimes when something is going around in my town especially, it's that I can get, it's like having a torch in your eye. And it gets so bright in the room that I get wide awake, and then I get up and ask what is going on. And after a while, I hear the sirens, and there's a detonation or a arson or a shooting or something like that. And I know, and I call upon the angels, and then they give me energy and I get through the day. But there is a lot of that the less you try, that helps you. And that's why I say in bed, or when I'm doing washing up or vacuuming, or when I had a garden and I did gardening, and anything repetitive that I keep on repeating, it opens me up. I'm focused on something else, and then it comes. So if I focus, and I also practice this, and this is very unique for me. Let's say that I study philosophy or theology or something metaphysical or whatever I'm looking into. And then suddenly I start to get these insights, and it is not what it says in the books. It's completely different from the book many times. And I get, let's say that I might get 2 or 3 scenarios from that book. And then my analytical brain starts to try these things out. And that happens in work too, that everybody else is having a problem they can't solve. And suddenly you have in an instant 7 different solutions to the same problem. And that was one of the most notable signs, both in me and the man I helped, is that these spontaneous, they come, and since you often when you work for somebody, they have to discuss, the bosses have to discuss what to choose, and then you have 7 solutions so they can choose from. And since I was in the hiring and firing also, that it might have protected people's jobs if I had a solution that worked so they could stay on work and they didn't have to go bankrupt. So whatever your work is, or if you're a state, it might come up in different ways, but it's still there. And the old grimoires are that the ritual is done and the presence was there, even if you didn't see or feel or sense anything, since the ritual itself is so powerful that it has happened. And that's the mindset we need to have. And when I had my dark times, when life was really bad around me, not my life, but everything fell apart around me, and you have that doubt of fate, that I begged Hesiel especially to help me to develop that sincere faith and trust and let go of that analytical, since I analyze everything, and that makes it difficult sometimes for the angels to be heard. So when I do these videos, I don't plan them ahead, since that would take the angels away. Instead, I feel a nudge, talk about this today, and then I go on and blurt out whatever I say. Even if there is a lot of nonsense, there is a lot that comes directly from that inspiration from the angels. So that's why these spontaneous videos are a little bit different when I don't say exactly how to do, since I'm just trying to get in whatever the angel's messages is. And we live in a time right now where a lot of people are pushed to their limits. Whether it's conspiracies, whether it's war, whether people are truly paranoid out in society, and the demonic influence is huge. You can see people act so strangely, just like they would be possessed in reality. There is no sense to how they respond to things, and these are people who don't suffer from PTSD or mental illnesses, but there is just that cruelty, that lack of compassion, the lack of understanding, and that me, and the ego thing. I want this, I want that, this is a sale, and they nearly kill each other to buy a blouse. And that kind of thing, that it's become so cruel, they can't share anything with others. Oh, this is my brand, this is me, I need to get that notice, and I need to cancel that person, and they get these cancel trains. And many times that is purely demonic, all of that. So whether they do know about things or even don't have any faith, they are still under the influence through their actions and through their words, through their thoughts. And where your focus goes, that is where your heart goes. So if you focus on getting whatever you want constantly, the angels won't talk to you, it's a demon. So it is trying to see, in a simple way you can ask, what can I do to serve you, God, every day. And the angels, even if it's difficult since he don't need us and he don't need us as serving since we are flawed, but yet anyway, that opens up for the angels, gives them an opportunity. What can I do today? Is there anything that I can do to help somebody? Should I pray about something? Should I do a magical ritual? Should I call on a specific name of? And I do that a lot, by the way. Since the angels tell me they just that somebody needs this ritual and then they come and I don't know who they are or where they live. The angels take care of it and I know they do. And that is living by faith and trusting the angels. And so instead of, I have given a lot of practices that are from the occult, but yet there is that simple that, let's say that I lay in bed and I fall backwards into the emptiness of the universe since it's pitch black. And then I see stars and planets surrounding me, and on every star and planet there's an angel. And of course there are demons there, but then suddenly there comes that spark. There might be sudden shifts in color, like orbs shooting through your closed eyelids, and you start to feel that lift, and sometimes it feels like you're pulled and somewhat upwards, and all these things are happening. It is just that we need to trust that the angels will take care of you every step. If they agree to do it once, they are looking after you and following through unless you ask them to stop or they start to go really a dark path with the destruction. So it's allowing things to happen since they know you and they also know what might frighten you. And they are opening you up so that you will be listening to them instead of getting overwhelmed and starting to believe that you are a living God. Let's put it that way. That is the popular phrase. And then they see that you find the right people, you find the right book, or you find the right manuscript, and you will create your own unique relationship to them. And it doesn't matter whether you see or hear them at first. It doesn't matter. You just must learn to know. Just as God knows everything that is happening, He's all knowing. And the angels are a part of Him. And they can see your emotions and read your emotions. So if you are in pain, they know that you are in pain. If you are happy, they are happy with you. Try to, when I found myself when I'm out walking that I might skip a few beats. I think of an angel and then I do skipping at my age. That looks quite funny. But there is that instant joy that you might feel that there was an angel present there, and then you act a little bit foolish as usual. I do always act foolish. So, so there is that spontaneous, you get that thought, and it actually helps someone. Or you suddenly blurt out something that creates an emotion in somebody else that is healing in them. Or it is an animal who is afraid of people and it approaches you since it seeks the confidence, seeks the compassion and love in you. So everything is a gift. And as the Bible says, there is no spiritual gift above love and compassion and forgiveness. And everything like prophecy, seeing, speaking in tongues, or seeing angels, everything falls way below that. So if you have received other higher gifts that they are stated in the Bible, that's even better. And that means that the angels are surrounding you anyway. So I hope this helps a bit. It's a long talk about a lot of things, but I'm just trying to answer with a way that is not a cult, but is the true journey of multiple. And the visualization technique that is so popular, it doesn't work for anyone, and it's imaginary. This is not about imagining things. This is about having things happening in your daily life. It's about knowing, learning to have faith and trust. And Pahalia is great, Hesiel is great, but I worked with Hesiel and I asked, please give me the faith they are describing in the Bible, the unwavering, strong faith. And I begged for that for years. Poor Hesiel probably had the earplugs by that time. But I was begging, please give me that faith. I love you all, and bye for now.